Welcome to Life Science Investing Today. I'm Amanda Mueller, and today I'm in Pittsburgh interviewing two CEOs, Jim Nolan and Ken Melani, who have partnered up to form a new investment fund called Velocity Fund Partners that targets the life science industry. So thanks for being here today. So you two come from very different backgrounds, but they work very well together to form this partnership. Can you tell me a little about those?
Yeah, my strength is really in the health services side of the business and on the payer side of the business. And being a practicing physician, I understand what it is to take technologies and use them in the clinical setting. So that's where I come into play. Jim, on the other hand, is very strong in the life sciences area. Both of us are ex-CEOs, so we have leadership skills, but we're a bit different. I am a very good strategist when it comes to the payment methodologies and positioning things for customers and payers. He's a really good strategist when it comes to taking the product and looking at taking it to market at the consumer level. So I think that's what makes us strong, is we complement each other. Both C-level executives, but very complementary types of programs that we've done in the marketplace and knowledge that we have in the marketplace.
I think from a science perspective, my side of the line is to really delve into the science and make sure that all the pieces are there that allow you to go all the way through to get the products to market or the services in the niche that makes it. And the beauty of the relationship, we just had a thing recently where we have a client that we're going to contract with, and it happens to be a Pennsylvania company, that have come to us to look at their science and to help them take their science where it needs to go. But in choosing their indication, they need to understand what the payer strategy is going to be, because if it goes one way, they'll pick one indication, if it goes another. And to my knowledge, we're the only group around that has those two pieces. That allows us to not only help you from the science end to figure all the things you need to deal with the regulatory authorities and those sorts of things, but on the other side, be able to help you plan how you're going to deal with your reimbursement strategies. What's it going to actually look like when it goes out in the marketplace? And I think that's the unique thing about our relationship.
Your first acquisition was a CRO. Can you tell us a little about that?
Sure. Well, the acronym CRO stands for a Contract Research Organization. And those are organizations that typically work with pharmaceutical companies or device manufacturing companies. And they take their products and they take them into a clinical setting and do research on them with typically humans. And they try to find out whether the drug is safe or whether it's effective. And they do that in order to get approval by the FDA or by the European Union, some regulatory body. And so that's the company we purchased. We purchased a contract research organization, or the acronym CRO. The one we purchased is called InClinica. Picked up a large contract, and we're doing fairly well. It had a nice infrastructure from a CRO, or a contract research organization, perspective. We were asked to go in and take a look at the company to see if we could help in any way, shape, or form. When we went in, we said, wow, this is not only a great space to be in based on what's happening in the environment, but it's a good organization, but we can do better. We've got contacts around the world in the clinical side and in the pharmaceutical side, and we can really take this and make it grow, and we can do what's important to make it successful. And so we expanded the organization beyond Asia into an international organization. So not only are we in Malaysia, but we're now in Singapore, Sydney, the United States, with 4 locations in the United States. We're in Europe, up in England, and we're down in Israel and looking to expand into South America. So we've made this an international organization. In addition, we brought in talented people. Jim and his group, our management team, went in and brought their skill sets to bear with the contacts Jim and his team have, and we created a front end to InClinica. So not only do we do the back end research, these phase 2, phase 3 clinical trials, but we now can go into companies very early on and be business consultants and help them really look at their product from the very infancy, from it's a chemical, and determine whether that chemical is patentable, whether it's effective. How can you then plan on taking it to market and work your way into the trials through what we call first in man, phase 1 clinical trials, phase 2, phase 3. And so we made the company an organization that becomes a business partner of pharmaceutical companies, typically mid to small size pharmaceutical companies. And we see that as a huge differentiating feature and a huge opportunity for growth in the marketplace. So we're very excited to have InClinica in our portfolio.
The interesting thing from InClinica from a business perspective is that right now, in the next 12 to 36 months, over 7,000 compounds are going to be entering human trials. There's never been this many new drugs and new devices coming forward. It's a phenomenal period. And there's a saying that if you're in a gold rush, be the person selling picks and shovels. Well, that business is the CRO business. So for us, it's an ideal time to get involved in InClinica and be right in the forefront of what's going to be this bulge, this huge bulge, and I think it's going to be protracted. I think it's going to continue in the clinical space. So it was a good business decision on our part to get into that field.
So what do you hope to do with InClinica? Where do you see InClinica going in the upcoming years?
Yeah, we want to make InClinica a business partner of early to mid-size pharmaceutical companies in the marketplace. And we want to get in there early as a partner and grow with them, so we can grow our business as they grow their business. That's the premise in which we're working. And we hope in the next 3 to 4 years to quadruple the business in InClinica and make it a very successful organization and a very attractive organization.
And as we build that reputation in the phase 1s, the phase 2, and the smaller phase 3s, large pharma is going to start paying attention to what we do. And we're hoping that the next great leap for us is going to be when those companies start seeing the kind of management style we bring in, the way we do our approach, so that we can actually kind of round out the whole system. And I think that's what we're looking for in the future.
So I understand your second investment was in the therapeutic arena, and it's something called SkinJect. Can you tell us a little about that?
Yeah, SkinJect is an exciting product. It's a drug and a technology that came out of the University of Pittsburgh and Carnegie Mellon University. A dermatologist at Pitt was working on a chemical solution for basal cell carcinoma using a chemotherapeutic agent. They came up with an idea that if it was embedded in a unique delivery system, you could essentially treat and or cure basal cell carcinoma instead of going through a type of surgery called Mohs surgery, which can be very disfiguring and very expensive. He then worked with a researcher at Carnegie Mellon University to perfect a delivery device. And it's a patch with what we call microfilament needles. When you say the word needles, people think of these metal things you stick into the body, but these aren't metal, it's a sugar. It's actually a form of a sugar that the patch is made out of. The drug is embedded in the tip of the needles. And so when you put the patch on the lesion, it delivers the drug to the perfect site in the skin layers, and it melts. Within 15 minutes, the patch disintegrates because it's a sugar, and the drug's left in place. The body reacts to the drug, fights the disease.
In fact, this area of basal cell cancer, it's the largest area of unmet medical need in dermatology. In the first quarter, there's a meeting that's held in the biotech industry called the J.P. Morgan Conference. It's held every year in San Francisco. And at this meeting, there's a derm summit with all of the research companies and the major pharma companies. Everyone involved in dermatology goes to the research summit. And one of the first talks was, what are the largest areas of unmet medical need? And the first speaker got up and he put up this sign that said, basal cell cancer, there really isn't anything. Well, you can imagine how we felt in the back of the room. We were going like this. We picked the right company at the right time in a space where this is really needed, because basal cell cancer is just growing in leaps and bounds as we're all out in the sunlight and more people are heading south.
So let's talk about your management philosophy. Does it differ from other investment funds?
Yeah, so our fund's different in a couple of respects. First of all, you've got a fund that's going to take its money and put it into companies that we've already identified and are ready to go. So we're not going to waste money trying to source companies or trying to find companies, do a lot of due diligence, go through a lot of legal and other human capital expenses, and then find out we don't get the company and have to start over again. And so we're not wasting a dollar. We're going to put all of our money right into the operation of the companies from day one. Secondly, we have a management team that has over 30 years of experience for each individual in the healthcare industry, life sciences industry, and taking product to market successfully. That management team will be physically managing and operating each of these companies. So we don't have to worry about the talent in a company we pick up. We are the talent. We're going to run them, we're going to make them successful. And those are the two big things that differentiate our fund from most funds that you see out there. C-level people at all levels in our fund.
I would say the other thing is, we've got quite the network of experts that we've dealt with for many years in many different fields that we can tap and grab very quickly. I mean, a classic example is, look what happened in December. We had a client of ours from the South who got hit with a regulatory issue from a government on December 23rd, told they needed an answer very early in January. Well, there they were, stuck 2 days before Christmas, and what were they going to do? And they went to competitive groups, and all those groups said, we'll have to deal with you after the holidays. It took us, 2 10 minutes. We started to make calls. The next thing you know, that afternoon on the 23rd, we had the leading experts of the world together to solve the problem. We had the answers for them to go to the government the first week in January. We can move very, very quickly because we have that network and those personal relationships. And I think that spells a huge difference. You know, when you invest, we invest in the people. You invest in the opportunity. You really get to know the scientists, right? You really want to get to know who that individual is to say, is this someone that not only believes in the science, but someone that we believe in? Well, the same happens to us from an investment perspective. We want to invest, and we want people to invest in us because they believe in us. They recognize we have the expertise. They recognize we have the knowledge of not only our industries, but where to go when we don't have the answers. We're smart enough to know when you've got to get that outside expertise, and I think that's the difference.
So obviously you guys do a lot of work together and spend a lot of time together. Can you tell me a little bit about your working dynamic and your partnership?
I would say the thing that really makes us work is we've got a real great communication ethic. We talk all the time. We know what's going on both sides, and we try to act in a very synergistic fashion. Okay, it's very important that as Ken deals with the investors and deals with that he's got his finger on the pulse of where it is, and I have no problem making sure his finger's on the pulse. It's really worked out well. In fact, I think the relationship between the two of us, you know, we both know each other's experience. We both recognize we come from different parts of the industry, and it just melds very, very well.
I have a special ringtone on my phone for Jim Nolan, and it's wearing out.
So clearly there's a lot of big, exciting things going on. You're excited about this, clients are excited about this. We could probably sit here and talk for hours about this, but unfortunately we are out of time. So Jim Nolan and Ken Melani, thank you so much for being here to talk with me today. For Life Science Investing Today in Pittsburgh, I'm Amanda Mueller.